Welcome to the Conway Basketball 2024 Conference Preview. He's Tim Roach, I'm Levi Gilbert, and joining us now, the head Wampus Cat basketball coach, Marcus Adams. And Coach, before we dive into this new year, you've got one full year now under your belt. I just want to check in and see how you're feeling after that first year and how you feeling about where you're at.
Well, it's good to always have a year in your belt, especially in a new situation, trying to set a new standard, new culture. So I thought we had a nice little brand of basketball with hard nose, being physical, being tough, and I thought we had some good wow moments last year. So we're just looking forward to the next year, just continue to raise the bar, set the standard, and especially with this new group we got this year.
When you look at the returners, really, there's not a lot returning back. You've got Kennard Turner, though, who you're counting on, and the junior was really impressive last year. Yeah. What are you expecting out of Kennard this year?
Well, I'm expecting him to take a brand new role in leadership. So because, as you know, we got a really, really young team with only one senior. So we're playing a bunch of freshmen, a lot of sophomores, and probably about 3 juniors. So he's got to be one of them guys, like, whatever this team needs him to do. And right now, whether it's guarding other team best player, scoring, making everybody else better, and right now, and rebounding the basketball, which he's really done a good job of. His one game, he's had 14 rebounds in one game, and he ain't looked back there ever since. So it's just whatever the team needs for him to do, and he's willing to do it. So
yeah. Now, Conway basketball fans, they're familiar with Kennard Turner's name. He's been playing since he was a freshman. Right. But beyond that, a lot of new faces. Can you just tell us a little bit about, how the starting five has been shaken out? I'm sure it's been changing throughout the non-conference, but who's been getting those looks at the starting
Well, like I said, I can name a few of them. So I'm going to start with Caleb Collum. Like I said, he's come in 6'4", junior, and he's done a really good job of being a great teammate. The way he leads, he anchors our defense with his powerful voice, and also, too, he can stretch the floor and make shots. And we also got another junior that came in, Cedric Jones, point guard, that can score shoot a 3-ball in mid-range, and he's very crafty with the basketball and can see the floor. Also, our sophomores, we got Antoine McCray Jr., a shifty guard that can shoot it, get to the rim, and I've really been impressed with him lately, his growth, maturity as a young man. He's trying to be better on the defensive end of the floor, which he has. Jay Sullivan, another sophomore, that can shoot the basketball. He's getting better with his decision-making and wants to be better defensively, which he is. But we have another sophomore, Wesley Tapp. Yeah, Tapp is another 6'6" sophomore that can stretch the floor and shoot it. He's the quarterback over there with football. So another kid that's a high IQ guy. Now I can go with the freshman class that we got right now. So we moved up 2 freshmen, 6-foot guard, Carl Anthony Johnson. I say he's just a hard nose. He's just a dude, man. He gets after it defensively. He's not afraid of the moment. He can play the 1 or the 2 for us and doesn't mind rebounding the basketball for his size. And also we got 6'6" forward Jamal Holden. He's a freshman. And I think this kid's got a chance to be really special. I'm talking about he's long, he's athletic. He blocks shots, can run the floor, can shoot the mid-range, can get to the rim, and his ability to make passes. So, when this group puts it together, like I said, because it's been a roller coaster for us, I think this group has a chance to be really special. So they're fun to coach, but they also make me get a haircut once a week because I'm getting gray hair every day seeing them, though. But they're fun to coach, though.
So that's a lot of folks that you have that you've probably been rotating in starting five. Do you have some folks that maybe right now are not quite there yet, but you're expecting to see from a bench perspective as you go through the rest of the year? Do you see anybody else coming into play?
Well, like I said, we have a guard, DeAnthony Dillon, sophomore guard. Like I said, he's been sticking it with us. He's another hard-nosed guard for us defense and getting the habit of running the show. And I can give you another guy. I'm telling you something. This kid right here, he's one of our juniors. He does not complain. He does not. Great teammate. And I can just say Chris Shane. He may not score around the basket, one of them scores, but he's one of those guys that actually do whatever you need for him to do. Do you need me down on the floor? Do you need me to box out? Do you need me to rebound? Do you need me to do this? He's just one of those guys. Whatever you need him to do, he'll do it. And scoring does not matter for him. Whatever he can do to help this team win, and he's such a great attitude kid. So,
as we record today, you're almost through the non-conference schedule. You got a tournament coming up next week, but 6-5 on the year. You've got wins over El Dorado, Hot Springs, Rogers. What's been working well for your team during the non-conference play?
Well, just for one, the wins has been us being consistent. really focusing in on defense on the floor, getting to the habit where we can get stops and rebound because we're really good in transition. This group is, and this group from last year group, this group can really shoot the basketball. And also we got guards that can get in the paint. So just being consistent on the offensive end where we got ball movement, player movement, just hitting an open guy, just making the game easy for each other, which working for us. But we try to get where our defense can lead to our offense, but also, too, if teams want to play us in the half court, we want to be able to grind you out, too, because we got things in place where we can make each other successful and make the game easy for each other.
So do you have, are there areas, specific areas of focus that you're looking at, things you got to really improve on?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, for one, guarding three, that's been one of our roller coasters right now, just being aware on that part and keeping guys in front of us and limiting teams to one shot. But also, too, transition-wise, I think we leave a lot of points on the table because we don't run the floor consistently and get the ball ahead. But also, too, from a half-court perspective, just get where we don't watch each other play, just continue to get more ball move, player movement. And we talk about it all the time. You come watch practice, you be like, wow. But when you get to the game, you be like, what are you doing? Like, it's just – but that's just part of just being young, you know. So when I tell them today, like, you guys look really good in practice. Can y'all please just translate it to the game so we can be consistent? But like I keep saying, this group is so fun to coach. But like I said, they will give you moments like, what are you doing? You know, so it's just, but that's just part of being young. But it's fun watching these guys mature and grow right before your eyes. So,
well, the second season, conference play, almost upon us. After the break, we'll preview the 6A Central with Coach Marcus Adams.
Transform your internet experience with Conway Corp Managed Wi-Fi, powered by Plume. Full-strength, uninterrupted Wi-Fi everywhere in your home. Multiple devices, maximum streaming and uploading. Installed by our experts for peak performance. Buffering, over. Dead spots, gone. Easy controls manage your smart devices. And advanced security keeps it all safe. It's the smarter way to Wi-Fi. Conway Corp Managed Wi-Fi. Upgrade now.
Welcome back to the Conway Basketball 2024 Conference Preview. I'm Levi, he's Tim, and Coach Marcus Adams here with us. And Coach, if fans out there like intense, high-quality competition, then they're going to love this year's 6A Central. You got Central, Bryant, North Little Rock, and the defending champs, Jonesboro, all the usual suspects. Spoiler alert, they're all still pretty good.
They're all solid. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, this is every Tuesday and Friday night. So whether you win or you lose or learn, you got to flush it down the toilet and go to the next game because it's going to be a quick turnaround, you know, because it's every night with this group. So everybody's good.
Well, so we've looked at some of the non-conference records, and you've got Cabot and Southwest that appear to be a little bit down, but really there are no gimmies in this league, is there?
It's not, because like I said, I think Southwest is better this year than we were last year. Because they got a good couple quality guys back. Cabot may lost some size, but their guard play still good, and you know their standard is they're going to be physical, they're going to be hard-nosed, they're going to be tough. And Jonesboro, like I said, their tradition there, like I said, you never can count them out. They're always going to be in the mix. North Little Rock, they got some returning juniors from last year. They're right there. I think Bryan is really good, especially from last year to this year, and I think Central's right there up there ahead of everybody else. But every Tuesday and Friday night, it's going to be something to see. And that's what we're trying to get our young bunch for every night. Like, you got to be ready to play.
They're going to learn real quick.
They're going to learn real quick. It ain't going to take much. They're going to learn really quick.
And it's the second year with this conference setup where we just have 7 teams on the Central side. You got to experience that last year. There's more gaps in the schedule because there's one fewer team. Yeah. How do you prepare for that? How do you keep your team engaged during the weeks when they have a week or even more off?
Well, like I said, we just try to treat Friday like we actually have a game with those nights off, and plus that gives them time to rest a little bit, you know. So we'll take those times we can go watch a team that we're coming up next to go scout, and it help us to recover and watch a little bit more film and some stuff we can clean up even more, especially with teams when you do got a quick turnaround, play a Central or North Little Rock or something like that. So especially with this young group to try to refresh their mind and not put a lot on them, you know, so just try to keep it as simple as possible for them. So,
we've talked about players in the last segment, but as you start to turn the page now and it really gets serious, it's going to be conference play. Can you talk about some of the guys that you think you're really going to count on, that you kind of feel like you can expect some big things out of them in conference play as you kind of turn the page there?
Well, I'm gonna start with Kennard because he has the most experience over everybody on this team. So he's been there, he's seen it, and once again, just something he's got to know that whatever this team needs me to do, I'm willing to do it. Where it's like I said, rebound the basketball, guard another team best player if it's scoring, or giving it up to the right person for the open shot. Just whatever this team needs me to do. And also too, expecting just big things from Cedric Jones as the point guard and game manager, running the team, and just the things like that, and on the defensive end, and also too Jamal Holden, the freshman. Like I said, it's gonna be something good for him, the experience as a freshman, to go out there with his athletic ability, the ability to score and rebound and be an anchor on the defensive end. And like I said, I can keep going. I can go with Sullivan. It's a sophomore. I think this will be a good experience for him. 6'3" guard that can shoot the basketball, and he got to be able to mix it up a little bit. And also Antoine McCray, another sophomore guard that I told you I've seen tremendous growth out of him for the last 4 games. And also too, Wesley Tapp. Like I said, this another one. So, but like I said, we got 8 or 9, 10 guys that we're dependent on. Also, we got a senior that came in Roderick Blackman. One of those other guys that could be a defensive anchor, to help us on the defensive end of the floor. So we're expecting a lot of things from a lot of these young guys because, like I said, if people don't know, this is a brand new team from last year. So like I said, it's always fun to coach these guys. But like I said, they'll make you get a haircut every week.
You're essentially halfway through the season at this point. What stands out to you and what's unique about this team?
The fight. Like, they actually have a lot of fight in them, which, we weren't expecting at this early. Like, it was games where this year, early in the year, we'll play a top team on the road. We're down 17. We'll come back and tie the game or lose at the buzzer. Or you're down 17 again. We'll come back, 2-point game. We'll miss 4 or 5 free throws down the stretch. Just stuff like that. So I'm like, these kids could have just gave in. But that shows you, like, we actually have fight in us. But we just had to have some sense of urgency when the ball goes up in the air and don't wait to the third quarter side to play.
We've talked about a lot last year, and then this year we've in some of our conversations about your second year, the kind of culture, what the reputation of Coach Adams was coming in. How do you think you're progressing toward the kind of culture and the kind of team and the kind of environment that you'd like to have?
I think it's slowly coming along. Like I said, we're still trying to build that's being selfless and hard-nosed and tough because, in this 6A basketball, you got to have some grit. Like, you got to have that toughness, especially through adversity, too, when stuff don't go your way. And we're trying to teach this young bunch because things are not going to go our way. Like, teams are going to pick on us because of our youth. And we're fighting to be young men. And they got to understand, like, we're lacing up just like everybody else, and you got to have that confidence about yourself. You got to have that grit. You got to have that self-determination and that discipline and focus to do the things that we need to do no matter how old we are. So that's I think it's slowly coming along. But I think once they understand and grasp, okay, this is what we need to do for us to be successful, and I think it'll get better as we go.
Man, love this time of year.
Ready?
Love it.
Let's go.
He's Wampus Cat head coach Marcus Adams, and after the break, we'll sit down with Ashley Hutchcraft, head coach of the defending 6A state champion Lady Cats.
Home entertainment now means streaming everything. Movies, hit shows, all at your fingertips. Or not. And it means accessing entertainment everywhere. So you can take the blockbusters, the big games, the Conway favorites, and more on the go all the time. Introducing Conway Corp TV. Home entertainment that doesn't have to stay home. Available only from Conway Corp.
Welcome back to the Conway Basketball 2024 preview. Joining us now, we've got Coach Ashley Hutchcraft, coach of the defending 6A state champion Lady Cats. And Coach, defending a state championship's always interesting.
Sure.
But it's especially interesting this year because you only have one starter coming back. What's that adjustment been like, getting used to not having those 4 incredible seniors around?
Well, number one, we miss their presence and just, their character on and off the floor. So it's just, anytime you lose seniors, it's it's hard. You know, they move on and they have a different different path in life, and you still try to stay connected. And you know, of course, they're always family, so missing them is a little bit. And then, of course, just who they were on the floor for us, and the roles that they had, and just trying to fill those roles. You know, it's always a challenge.
So you got one lone returning starter from last year, and it's Lex. How's she looking going into her third year being a starter here in your program?
Yeah, you know, it's different. We have to remember too that Lex is a volleyball player, and so you know, our volleyball team made it to the state championship game, and so we had Lex for about a week and a half before we played our first game. And volleyball and basketball are very different. It's a different style of play and different shape that you have to be in. So it takes Lex, honestly, it takes Lex until about right before conference play, we feel like, to get into basketball shape. But she's had some really big games for us, and we're just expecting her to come into a different role. You know, we feel like the last 2 years, anything she contributed, we were, oh, you know, this is amazing. She's a freshman, she's a sophomore. And it just added to Chloe and Savannah. And now it's, okay, Lex, you're in this kind of primetime leadership on the floor role. And there's no time to wait. So, you know, but every day it gets better and better.
You also have junior Emery Bohannon back, and she was usually the first one off the bench a year ago. But she's another one that's having to kind of move into a new role. Yeah,
you know, Emery's had a big year so far. She's had some really big games. Some, you know, obviously she's a knockdown 3-point shooter. She's had some games where she's hit 5-6 threes and really kind of sealed the deal for us on the court. But the thing that I'm enjoying about Emery is just her leadership in practice, in the locker room. She has really challenged herself to step into being our team leader.
So Samaya Jordan is somebody else that contributed last year, and she was a little spark plug when she came off the bench. Ran the floor real well, runs the point pretty well as well. What's it look like for her this year?
You know, just a different role. You know, they went from playing, her and Emery went from playing, you know, maybe 15 minutes a game to now, you know, they're playing the whole game. So just different. You know, we have to remember too that Emery and Lex moved up as 9th graders, but Samaya didn't. So I keep reminding Lex and Emery that, hey, y'all are really seniors. You know, you've had 2 years, and Samaya is a true junior. And again, I feel like every week it gets better and better and better.
So, Lady Cat fans will remember those 3 names from a year ago.
Yeah.
But who else is rounding out that starting lineup?
I think one that we, you know, she's our lone senior, Amaya Taylor. We call her AT. I've been so pleased with her game this year. You know, I feel like especially last year, she was just kind of right on that brink of getting some playing time. But now, obviously, she's stepping in. She's been here 2 years. Her and Emery have really, you know, when the game is tough, they have really led us. But we give AT the best player. If we're in man, she guards the best player. You know, she is physical. She's tough. I would say she is probably our best defensive player. You know, we love AT. She's a huge part of what we do. And again, I think the more games we play for all of them, the better it gets. And you know, we're sitting here 8-5, but you know, that's a really good record for us.
So you've got some folks that are the way you run your offense and defensively, how much pressure you put on. You have to go a few players deep. Who are the next girls up?
Well, we have a new player, a freshman that is a starter, Trinaya Weston. We call her T. She is what we would probably call her a point guard. And you know, being a freshman last year, she was playing middle school basketball, and now we've thrown her into being the point guard of the 6A defending state champs. And so she is just a competitor. The sky is the limit for this young lady, and she is fun to watch. She's tiny, but she doesn't play tiny. And so we love her. She's been a blessing for our team. And then Olivia Cox, Alexa's sister, she has had I think she's our most improved player from last year to this year. We really didn't trust her to go in the game last year, and this year, she could be a starter. She gets just as many minutes as a starter does. So, she's been huge. Mariah Wilson, another freshman, that has some length and athleticism, has been big for us. So, Liv and Rye coming off the bench has been good.
Now, Coach, like you said, as we record, you're 8-5 on the year. You got the one last big tournament coming up for non-conference. But what's been working well so far through the non-conference? We're a three-point shooting team. When we're making shots, I feel like we're the number one team in the state. And I know that sounds, you're 8-5. How is that possible? It's possible. When Emory and Lex are on, we're going to win most games. And then when we're not, we struggle because we have no size. We have no inside game. We have no inside presence. So our defense, when our defense is on, we've only had 4 home games. So if you've watched us play this year, we're going to get after you defensively because we have to. We have to kind of, our defense has to be our offense at times because in a half-court set, we don't have a lot of inside presence. So, but when we're not making shots, it's a challenge. And so us trying to figure out, hey, what can we do with no inside game? We're not making a shot because sometimes, you just have those nights. You can't make a basket. So when we go to, this is our 5th charter bus trip, our 5th out-of-state game. We've had one weekend in December where we haven't been on the road. So, anytime we can go to these tournaments like Duncanville, we're going to play the number 3 team in Texas tomorrow night after we already play a game. It's just a challenge for us, and we have to remember it's not the record that matters because come January 5th, it's 0-0, so that's what matters.
Yeah. You talked about your challenges, and so one of the things that you can't really coach size. And so Savannah being gone now, playing at Auburn, you have to make up for that. And you talked about that. What's the challenge there for replacing someone in the middle who you've counted on for 4 years? Yeah,
there's no replacing it. And I think, that's honestly, that's been our biggest challenge. You even when you're playing man, when you're playing zone, you don't realize when you have 6'4" in there, it's a game changer for your defense. It changes, the other team's offensive game. So we've really had to adjust to that, defensively for sure. Not just offensively, but defensively. I think that's honestly the biggest issue. So there's no replacing it. It's just adjusting and trying to be better every day.
A new year brings conference play on the horizon. After this break, we'll preview the 6A Central with Coach Ashley Hutchcraft.
We don't schedule the appointments, but we connect them. We don't read the x-rays, but we stream them. We don't handle the procedures, but we power them. Here's to running the things that make business run smoothly. Conway Corp. Always on.
Welcome back to the Conway Basketball 2024 Conference Preview. I'm Levi, he's Tim, and Coach Ashley Hutchcraft with us here. Well, let's just dive into the 6A Central. As we record, North Little Rock undefeated, Cabot's 15-1, Bryant has 11 wins, Central, Southwest, Jonesboro. Everyone in your conference is at least at 500. Most of them are better. Just same old, same old.
Yeah, same teams at the top. But I feel like for us, our strength of schedule is top notch comparable to those teams, and but they're still really good. They're well coached. And you throw in rivalry, and I think when we play our first conference game and it's North Little Rock and it's going to be the rematch of the state championship game at their place. They're undefeated at this point. It's going to be fun. So, and I think that's going to just be the case every night.
You and I love to keep saying this: the reigning state champion, Lady Cats. What are you've got to set goals every year. So you won it last year. I mean, do you change your goals as you get a brand new squad? What do you do about goals this year?
I feel like you just look at your team and go, what is what's the peak? What's the best thing your team can accomplish? And, honestly, if we stay healthy and, we keep improving, I feel like we could win another state championship. Of course, there's things that got to align just right, and you know how that goes. But there's no team that's kind of set apart like we've been the last few years. We're just kind of right all there in the mix. I think it's just going to come down to who's going to be peaking at the right time, and that's a good feeling. It's we're not sitting here looking at this situation going, I hope we win 5 conference games. No, every night's going to be a challenge, but when it comes February, March, I think it's anybody's state championship.
Yeah, very unlikely that anyone's going to run the table in conference. Makes for an exciting conference season. We talked about this some with Coach Adams, but you have the same scenario this year, 7 teams in the 6A Central, so it creates these gaps in the schedule, and you guys filled it last year with a trip to DC. How do you plan for those gaps this season?
Yeah, we really had a hard time scheduling games this year. We asked everybody under the sun to play a game in Arkansas and got a lot of no's, and so we've had to travel, 5 times out of state. Again, just getting on the phone and just let's play. So in our gap of times, we're going to actually have a home game. And we're going to play Link Academy, who they're really good, and it's a prep school out of Branson, Missouri. So we've kind of filled that gap with a really difficult game. So I think that will be good for us, and just kind of keep us playing on that Tuesday, Friday schedule, and not get out of just routine and not having to practice, 8 days in February.
So you've played, at this point, you've played a lot of tournaments. You've played a lot of games outside of the state, as you mentioned. So I know that you do a lot of tinkering in this time of the year, trying to figure out where strengths are and what you really have. When you get into the stretch run, though, in conference play, who on your team are you expecting just big things from? Who do you think is going to stand out?
I expect big things from Emory, Lex, and Samaya. And the reason I do is because they've been there. They're the only 3 on our team that have the experience of being on the floor in our conference and playoff run. I mean, they know what it takes, so I expect a lot from those 3. And for Samaya and Lex, it's going to be a challenge because they're not real vocal. They're not vocal leaders. They're not. They don't say a whole lot on or off the floor. So we've really challenged them to step up and take a little bit of more ownership of our team, and it not just be Emory's voice all the time. So, that's going to be a challenge.
We like to ask this every year, but you're halfway through the season. What's unique about this team? Like, what stands out to you about this squad?
I feel like we've talked a lot about travel, but we've been on 5 trips, okay? 5 trips with 19 teenage girls in a hotel room. And you would think, there would be a little bit of, maybe bickering, some issues arise. You go on a trip with your family, there's issues. There have been no issues. We have just, which I was very concerned about. All these new people coming in, and we're losing these 4 huge pieces. I was so concerned about our unity and our just gelling and as a team, and I've been so pleased with their ability to stay connected and stay together, and just kind of just mesh. That's always a challenge when you lose big pieces and you have a big group of freshmen and sophomores coming in. So that's been a surprise to me. And then when we're making shots, when we're making threes, we're really, really good. We're really tough to beat. So, those 2 things can be huge when it comes to February, March.
So do you have, now that we head into conference play, do you have any like open questions about the team, things that you still trying to figure out, trying to wonder about?
Sure. We've had some games where, when we went to Dallas the first trip, we won two big games. It was 2 very challenging teams with size and great guard play. And the first game we started out and we were 12 down. Called a timeout, and Emory and AT just stepped up and led our team, and they got this refuse to lose mentality, and we have seen that a few times, and so I'm wanting to see that all the time. Coach D and I are having to coach a lot. We're having to coach every single play, and so if we're going to make a run for another state championship, it can't be us 100% of the time. And so that's my question. Is that going to change? If it does, I think we could be in Hot Springs. If it doesn't, I'm not sure we will.
Coach, sounds like it's going to be another classic Lady Cats season.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Lady Cats open the conference season January 5th on the road at what's likely still going to be an undefeated North Little Rock. Then they'll be home on January 9th with Cabot, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that'll be the first home broadcast for us. As always, Conway Corp will have all the home conference games this season. Coach, thanks for your time.
Thanks.